Group of migrants were spotted coming across the border. Ironically, every last one of them were full-grown men, military type age, and strong looking, clean cut, one plastic bag in their hand, and they're just marching. And there's an individual just talking to them saying, "Hey, where you going?" And all of them start naming cities. Now, okay, I'm an immigrant. People should know that too. Legal, by the way. I did it. So we have immigrants. And when I got here, I knew I was coming specifically for schooling, so I knew where I was going. Now, mind you, I don't necessarily know exactly where I am going, but I know the state, I know the school, blah, blah, blah. I have never navigated America before, but I get it. You might know you're going to a state, but if you're fleeing persecution, mind you, if you're fleeing persecution, how you already pre-planning where you heading to in the United States? Wouldn't you just go say, "Hey man, just get me out of here. I need amnesty. Wherever you put me, I don't care where you put me. Just put me anywhere. Anywhere is better than where I'm coming from." So the guy's questioning, "Where are you going?" "Chicago, Chicago, 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 Michigan, Chicago, Texas."
¿A qué estado te dirías?
Oregon.
Oregon, ¿tú? Chicago, ¿tú?
Chicago.
Chicago, ¿tú?
Chicago.
¿Tú?
Chicago.
¿Tú?
Chicago.
¿Tú?
Chicago.
¿Tú?
Chicago.
¿Tú? 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 ¿Tú?
They all know where they're going, and not a single child among them, no women among them, just these healthy, as we would say back home, hard-backed men. They just ready, right? Now the question is, let's just narrow it down to Chicago real quick. Why Chicago? Why are you going there? Well, okay, let's take some analytics going here. Let's do some strategizing. Chicago, pretty central. A couple of bases there that will train. They already have people in place that will set them up to get food, get shelter, get education. And so they're already walking into, I would call a Hilton. I don't know what else to name it, because they're not walking into poverty. They're walking into better circumstances than I'm in. Anybody give me not $29 million to do what I got to do? And I could use the $29 million. Now, I've got plenty of family I could feed with that, but apparently we're not worth that, especially the people in Chicago. So why are they coming? I can tell you why they're coming. Now, again, please don't tell me that I need to bring proof. I use something called deductive logic. You should try it sometime, if in case you're missing out on it. What you do is you look at the circumstance, you look at what's happening in the circumstance, and you look at possible outcomes, and then you listen to what people are saying. And you can come to a kind of conclusion as to what their intent is. So let's do some deductive reasoning, shall we? Chicago has a high crime rate, high homeless rate, and high single birthing mother rate. That's the case. They all require and want and need help. City of Chicago has not done anything for them, I would say, within the last 40 years. Now we have some people traversing landscape and coming across the border and ending up in Chicago. And all of a sudden, the city just pulls out of their back pocket 29 milli, just flip, flip, blah, pow on the table and say, they pull a Oprah, you get a house, you get a house, you get a house. What about us? You get a house and you get a car. But sir, I've been shut up, man. You're Chicagoan. You don't need nothing. You got everything you need. Be quiet. We're trying to deal with the immigrants right now. Do you need proof that that's what he said? Hold on a second. I got your proof for you. This is the mayor. Listen to what he said after he was asked a certain question.
Administration after administration has taken away from black people, not mine. And I want to make this point very clear as well. We're trying to make sure that migrants are not on floors. So when individuals say that black folks want what migrants want, it's not true. It's not. Black folks want what they deserve. And to compare the needs of black people to individuals who are being forced out of their countries because of bad foreign policy, who are living on floors, comparing the conditions in which descendants of slaves have had to endure to migrants who are sleeping on floors, I question how much you actually care and love about black people and understand their condition.
Now, listen carefully. I'm not going to bash the man. I'm just going to repeat what he said. Do not compare your circumstances of slavery to that of the immigrant. They need the help. What? Bro, okay, listen. You trying to tell me that the people in Chicago don't need help? But you're still the same one that says reparations a thing and the years of slavery was a big deal, but all of a sudden now when it comes to immigrants and getting 29 milli, don't compare yourself to that. This is a completely different thing. They've been sleeping on the floor. They've been sleeping here. They need shelter. Bro, we got homeless black people too. Look, the reason that they're doing this is because they're prepping for people to be in their line and ranks when they do eventually tell you your rights are no longer yours. You see, the military may not buy into this, okay? They may not. I would venture to say more than half of the current military will not go along with the government telling them to go into the United States and reprimand, arrest, and even beat citizens. They won't go along with it. But who would? People looking for something from said government. Who better to do it? Migrants. They need asylum. If you do this, I'll give you asylum. They need food. If you do this, I'll give you food. You need immunity? Do this for me. There was another breed of people that they did that too, and it's been successful for the last 100 years, and I think you know who that is. So, in other words, you've been replaced. You've been replaced by a more subservient kind. Someone with more to get and more to lose. This is a military what would I call it? A military recruitment. Let's call it that. They are recruiting actively members to come against you when the time is right. Now, call me a conspiracy theorist and call me whatever you want, but so far you can't name me one conspiracy that we've been wrong on. Not one. Are you really willing to test this one as a conspiracy theory? It's an awful big gamble. I suggest you do one thing. Go to your local place of government and ask them very specific questions about immigration. What are the ages landing? What kind of people and what's your plan? Because I'm telling you now, if you're not careful, before too long, you're going to end up leaving America as a third world country to go find somewhere else to find refuge. You don't believe me? Time will tell.